Welcome to this week's episode of AFL Cairns TV. On this week's episode of AFL Cairns TV, it is the end of season 2015 with three brilliant grand finals on Saturday. The Women's League decided between North Cairns and Menunda Hawks will be played at 10:30am at Cazalys. And then at 12:30 it'll be the reserve grade grand final with Port Douglas vying for back-to-back flags when they take on Central's Trinity Beach. While at 3pm it's the big senior clash between the South Cairns Cutters and September specialists in Cairns Saints. We will review how the teams got to grand final day and how they'll line up against each other, whilst we'll also look at the winners of AFL Cairns Night of Nights, the Crathern Medal held last Monday at Cazalys Social Club. In last Saturday's prelim final between Port Douglas and Cairns Saints, the Saints started the better of the two sides, kicking 5-4 in the win compared to the Crocs 1-3. The Saints led at the first break by 25 points. The Crocs had the win in the second, kicking towards AFL Cairns, but couldn't capitalise on their forward entries, kicking 3-8 to the Saints 2 straight when they were kicking against the howling breeze. Despite their wasted opportunities, the Crocs narrowed the margin back to 5 points at the long break. Port Douglas' defence was solid in the third, only conceding 2 goals from the 7 shots by the Saints. The Crocs were 14 points down heading into the final term, but they had the breeze at their back, which would have given them plenty of confidence. The Saints fans were hoping that their 14-point lead was enough, and when an early goal by Jesse Dixon was kicked against the breeze, it gave plenty of spirit for the Cairns Saints camp. Port went tantalisingly close, kicking 2-6 to 1 goal in the final term. But it was the Cairns Saints' accuracy in front of goal that proved the end result. They had 18 scoring shots to 26, however they were victorious by 2 points. The final score was Port Douglas 7-19-61 to Cairns Saints 9-9-63. For Port Douglas, Kai Chappell kicked 4 goals, while Mitch McKee, Dylan Weirmouth, James Mueller and Hayden Graham all performed well for the Crocs. While for the grand final bound Saints, Walsh finished with 3 goals, but it was the efforts of Lee Stewart, Rowan Couch, Kieran Daly and Christian Philpott that got the Saints over the line. The Cairns Saints now progress through to their 9th consecutive AFL Cairns Senior Grand Final, winning 5 of the past 8 on their way. This now shapes to be a cracking contest for the grand final between South Cairns taking on Cairns Saints. Looking at the Women's League prelim final result between Menunda Hawks and South Cairns, the Cutters were wasteful in the first quarter, not able to capitalise with the wind at their back. But for the Hawks, they were goalless after the first term. However, they kicked 4-3 in the second to regain control and lead by 23 points at half-time. It was an arm wrestle in the third term with both sides only managing 1 goal, but it was a 5-goal lead heading into the final term that definitely set up the result. The end score was Menunda Hawks 8-7-55, defeating South Cairns 1-6-12. It was a 43-point victory to the Menunda Hawks that saw them progress through to their 2nd consecutive Women's League Grand Final, where they'll take on North Cairns on Saturday. Previewing the 10:30 Women's League Grand Final between North Cairns and Menunda Hawks, these two sides are fierce crosstown rivals. Not only are Menunda Hawks looking to taste sweet success in 2015, they're looking to avenge the 2014 disappointment which North Cairns inflicted on the same day last year. Despite being undefeated in 2015 during the home and away fixture, Menunda Hawks had to do it the hard way after a surprise loss to North Cairns in the double chance final a fortnight ago. The Tigers had a strong final term to record a 17-point victory that evening, which saw them progress straight through to this week's grand final. While for Hawks, they had to then back it up in last week's prelim final, where they defeated South Cairns Cutters comfortably by 43 points. During the home and away season in 2015, Hawks definitely had the North Cairns measure, recording victories in round 2 and round 7 by 9 points. An amazing statistic, since North Cairns entered the competition in 2003-2004 summer comp, they've played in the last 12 out of 13 grand finals, winning 10 of them, vying for their 11th premiership this weekend. The contest and previous results in 2015 have this contest between North Cairns and Menunda Hawks as a tight, hard-fought contest being played at 10:30 on Saturday. Looking at the reserve grade prelim final between South Cairns and Central's Trinity Beach last weekend, it was a tight opening start that saw Central's lead early by 7 points. Momentum swung in favour of the Cutters during the second, where they kicked 3-3 to go into half-time leading by 8 points. Central's came out in the third term and kicked a 6-2 blazing third quarter to take the lead heading into the fourth. The South Cairns Cutters responded, however it was a 2-point margin at the final siren that saw South Cairns be defeated after finishing minor premiers. The result of that game was South Cairns 8-9-57, defeated by Central's Trinity Beach 9-5-59 in a thrilling game at Cazalys. Previewing the reserve grade grand final, which will be Port Douglas taking on Central's Trinity Beach. Port Douglas enter this grand final fresh after the week off after defeating South Cairns in the second semi-final a fortnight ago by 28 points. While for Centrals, they've done it the hard way, defeating the third place Cairns Saints by 44 points in week 1 of finals, and then coming off that narrow 2-point victory in the prelim final last week. These sides have met 4 times in 2015. Port Douglas won the first 3 encounters by an average of 8 goals, while in round 16 it was Central's Trinity Beach that turned the tables on Port Douglas, recording a 47-point victory at Crathern Park. Port Douglas are the reigning premiers in the reserve grade competition after winning the 2014 flag over Cairns Saints by 88 points. While for Centrals, it has been a long time since they've tasted success in the reserve grade fixture. This game will be played at 12:30 after the Women's League Grand Final and prior to the seniors South Cairns vs Cairns Saints clash at Cazalys on Saturday. On Monday night, AFL Cairns held its Night of Nights, the Crathern Medal. The evening was a chance to recognise the superb individual efforts of people within our football community throughout season 2015. Cairns City Lions' Tony Osborne was a worthy winner of Volunteer of the Year after his tireless efforts in 2015 for his football club and the AFL community. Port Douglas youngster Jack Dixon was awarded the Troy Clark Rising Star as voted by the best junior player in the competition by the senior coaches. In reserve grade, the Reg Dean Medal, it was a tie for best and fairest. On 20 votes, it was South Cairns' Paul Buller and Port Douglas' Andrew McLeod that shared the honours in reserve grade. Umpire of the Year went to the consistent performing Rowan Tattersall for the second time, and we also presented the 2015 Cairns Post Team of the Year, which the mentor of Port Douglas, Brad Cooper, was named Coach of the Year after a superb 16-2 home and away record. We also took the opportunity to acknowledge and pay tribute to Matthew Walsh's momentous feats in 2015. We all remember when he kicked the 1,000th goal against North Cairns, and this was a moment we had to share with the wider football community. On the evening, we unfurled the Matthew Walsh leading goal kicking medal, which he was the recipient for kicking 107 goals and finishing on top of the senior goal kicking charts in 2015. In the reserve grade, the leading goal kicker went to a fellow clubman in Ben Swartz, who won just in front of Fred Pittorino. We also acknowledged the Women's League award winners on the evening. Selena Goodman won her 5th Best and Fairest award, and that was 5 in a row for Selena. Luana Healy was the runner-up to that award, and she also won the leading goal kicking with 34 goals for the season. The Tigers youngster in Alicia King won the Rising Star Award after a tremendous year and being selected in 2 different All-Australian sides at club and school representative football levels. Menunda Hawks coach Tyson Lane was awarded Coach of the Year, while Christine Pike from Central's Trinity Beach was awarded the AFL Cairns Women's League Players Player as voted by the rest of her players in 2015. The big medal of the night was the Crathern Medal, and this went to Port Douglas ball magnet and last year's runner-up Thomas Clough. He was an outstanding candidate for 2015. He polled in 11 of the 16 matches he played throughout the season, 7 of which were best on ground performances, and he finished the count with an amazing 29 votes, 13 clear of runner-up Cairns City Lion Charlie Haley. Also on Monday night, we crowned the 2015 Goal and Mark of the Year winners. We want to take a look back and let the viewers of AFL Cairns TV have a look at the contenders and then show you the final winners of each of those categories. First up, we'll have a look at the goals. These are the contenders for the 2015 Cazalys Goal of the Year. Flint keeps the footy alive, dishes out the handball, goes to ground, scoops up the loose footy, evades the would-be tackler and snaps brilliantly on his right foot. Tenick attacks the footy hard, shrugs the tackler, fumbles, regathers, curls it from outside 50 and gets the perfect bounce. Young collects the loose footy, bamboozles the defender, sells some candy and snaps on his left foot. Bish gathers possession outside 50, has 2 bounces, accelerates past the chasing defender, straightens up and slots this beauty 15 metres out. McLaughlin dishes out the footy to Smedley. Smedley draws the defender, hands off to Lemper. Lemper feeds it to the advantage of McLaughlin, who finishes a great team run and carry goal. Gross gathers the footy outside 50, runs away from the defender, tight against the boundary line and threads through this left footer from an impossible angle. Chappell attacks the footy, beats his opponent, keeps it in and bends it through a tight angle from the pocket. The winner of the 2015 Goal of the Year was North Cairns' Corey Flint. Looking at the marks now. These are the contenders for the 2015 TJS Mark of the Year. Conroy with courage judges this to perfection. Douglas comes from the side and plucks this beauty. Dixon soars over the defender to take this brilliant grab. In the wet, Roberts judges his leap to perfection. Dixon again flies from the side to get the sit. Dixon uses his opposition to take this strong contender. Conroy crushes the pack from 4 deep with strong hands. Dixon runs, jumps and pulls in this screamer. The winner of the 2015 Mark of the Year went to South Cairns' James Dixon with this great grab at Crathern Park. Congratulations to those 2 winners in Corey Flint and James Dixon, and well done to all the contenders that featured throughout those categories. Once again, well done to all of our presentation night winners. It's been a big year at AFL Cairns, and we thank you for all your efforts. Looking ahead to Saturday's massive senior grand final, which will be South Cairns taking on Cairns Saints at 3 p.m. South Cairns enter the grand final after having the week off after defeating minor premiers Port Douglas by 15 points in the second semi-final a fortnight ago. For Cairns Saints, they defeated Central's Trinity Beach in week 1 of the finals by 51 points and recorded a narrow 2-point victory over Port Douglas in last weekend's prelim final. These two sides finished second and third respectively at the end of the home and away fixture. South Cairns last played in a grand final in 2009 and it happened to be against Cairns Saints, where they were defeated 104-81 back in 2009. Of the 4 encounters in 2015, it's gone 2 apiece with both clubs. In round 2 and round 12, Cairns Saints recorded victories by 77 and 41 points, while South Cairns recorded a 42-point victory and a 2-point win in round 8 and round 16 against Cairns Saints. The average winning margin between these two sides has been just under 7 goals in 2015. In an amazing feat, Cairns Saints have not missed a grand final since and including 2007, having won 5 of the past 8 flags. The last time South Cairns went on to win a premiership was back in 2003 when they defeated North Cairns. In the last time these two sides met in a finals match, it was back last year in 2004 in the second semi-final, where Cairns Saints knocked off the minor premiers in South Cairns 114-72. Looking at a few of the matchups for Saturday's big clash between South Cairns and Cairns Saints, the full forward combinations of Walsh for Saints and Smith for South Cairns will be influential. The 2 centre-half backs of both sides in Adam Couch and Jermaine Warder will be key features in this big fixture. Looking at some of the forward crummers for Cairns Saints, you've got McQueen and Jared Searle, while for South Cairns you've got Neil Till and Josh Barnett that are very influential. Looking through the middle at some of the matchups, you'll have Lucas Illich on Jesse Dixon, Jack Philp on 2014 Crathern Medallist in Zach Ewer. Without doubt, South Cairns have got an X factor in speedster Jack Marino. However, Cairns Saints will be relying on the influential halfback run of Kieran Daly and Pup Couch in Saturday's clash. This is going to be a hard-fought contest. They both use slingshot attack from their half-back line, and it'll be an old-fashioned shootout between the two full forwards in Saturday's fixture. A reminder of Saturday's fixture for Grand Final Day. The women's Grand Final will be at 10:30 between North Cairns and Menunda Hawks. In reserve grade at 12:30, it'll be Port Douglas taking on Central's Trinity Beach. And as we've just previewed, the massive game in seniors will be at 3 p.m. between South Cairns taking on Cairns Saints. To view more information about AFL Cairns Grand Final Day or previous rounds that have been played in 2015, please visit our website aflcairns.com.au. Before we wrap up this week's show and the final episode of 2015, we'd like to thank all of AFL Cairns TV viewers and supporters for 2015. It's been fantastic to bring you the weekly updates and the snapshots moving forward in 2015. And for the last time in 2015, we would like to say a big thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the footy this weekend.